Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Rachel, the designer behind Evelyn and Peter, and today I have a super fun corner to corner blanket pattern for you guys. So this is what it looks like. I know obviously I can't show you the whole thing, but here's one side. This is the side that you'll be seaming your panels together on, so it gives it this cute little like separated look to it. And then on the other side is more of a seamless look. So seriously, I love how this turned out. I actually got some inspiration from wallpaper of all things, and I was like, that would be so cute as a corner to corner blanket. So you're going to be working it up in 4 separate panels, and obviously it's bottom up, worked diagonally, and it does not matter which direction you read the rows in the graph. If you're going to be just following along with the graph, it doesn't matter because there's no color changes within the middle of the row. It's not like a picture graph or anything like that. It's just stripes, and when you change colors, it'll be on the ends of the row. So it doesn't matter. It's going to be the same, and you also can decide how you want your panels to look. So I'll let you know in the pattern, in the written pattern that is free on my blog. I show you which panels that I have. I just do panel A, B, C, and D lined up like that before joining. But if you don't like the way mine looks, you can go in, you can flip them around, you can turn them upside down, you can switch a couple. If you don't like A, you can switch it and move it to where C is and just flop them like that, flip flop them. Like it doesn't matter. I know it looks like there's going to be like a ton of information in this pattern, and there's really not, you guys. It's so simple. And this video, if you've never done corner to corner before, you can watch this video and see. I show you guys how to start it, how to change colors, how to do the decrease, how to tie off. I'll show you guys how to seam all the panels. So in this video, I will not be going through all 4 panels because that's just ridiculous. That would be like the longest video ever, but I'm showing you as an example with one video. And then as long as you're following along with the written pattern, like I always say in every single one of my tutorials, follow along with the written pattern, follow along. It's free on my blog, and the graphs are free on my blog, the instructions are free on my blog. So all that information is there, and then I'm just going to show you an example of how to do one panel, and then you're on your own for the other 3. It's the exact same thing, the exact same square count, the exact same size. Everything's the same except where you change colors. So you'll just want to make sure that you follow the graph for all 4 panels to make sure that you have the color changes in the right spot. And hold that thought because I gotta go help my daughter. And we're back. Okay, sorry, I had to deliver popsicles to my kids. They're outside playing and it's 100 degrees out. Okay, anyways, I can't even remember what I was saying besides 4 panels, super easy, blah blah blah, bottom up, diagonal. You guys got this. I'll walk you through everything on this tutorial. I'll link to enpcrochet.com, which is my blog, and the free patterns on there, as well as the graph and all the information, all the yarn needed, which I didn't even tell you guys. I use Line Brand's Rewind yarn. So this is a bulky weight tape style yarn. It is so soft and durable. I love it. You'll need 3 different colors in that, and I give you the color names and everything like that in the next clip of this video. You're also going to need a 6.5mm crochet hook, and if you don't have that one, you can easily size up to a 7 or an 8. Your blanket will come out a little bit bigger, but I think that bigger is better, right? So yeah, I think that's all you guys need to know. This is available as a kit on linebrand.com, so I'll link to that. And then also, if you guys don't like the ad version of the pattern free on my blog, I'll link to the PDF version in my Etsy shop and Ravelry shop. So it costs a few bucks, but it doesn't have any ads, so it's printable and easy to follow along with. I think that's it. And I hope you guys like this pattern. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. And oh, I know what I was going to tell you. I'm going to be using this for like an outdoor blanket because it's just like so squishy, and the yarn is so great for it. So I think it'd be a really good like picnic type blanket, but it's also like soft enough to have in the house. It's like really thick, and I don't know, it's just awesome yarn. I love it. But okay, thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next tutorial. So to get started with your blanket, you're going to need 3 different colors of a bulky weight yarn. I'm using Lion Brand's Rewind yarn in the colors Citronella, Capri Breeze, and Elm. And I highly recommend using this yarn. It has a very unique texture, tape-like look to it. It's also very soft and really easy to work with, and I love it and totally recommend it. And then you're also going to need a 6.5 millimeter crochet hook, as well as some scissors, and then a needle to weave in your ends. So we're going to begin with the Elm color, which is considered color A within the pattern, and you're going to start off by working a slip knot. So just go ahead and wrap the yarn around your fingers and then pull through to create a loop, insert your hook, and then go ahead and pull tight to secure. And we're going to be working in corner to corner crochet, which is a really fun stitch pattern, and I'm going to show you guys exactly how to do it. So we're going to be starting off on the first square, row 1, and to begin you want to chain 6. So just yarn over and pull the yarn through the loop on your hook a total of 6 times. And once you have 6 chains, we are going to be working our first stitch into the 4th chain away from the hook, or if you're counting up from your tail, it's that 3rd chain that you made. So I like to rotate my work and work my stitch into the back bump along the chain. It makes everything look neater in my opinion. So you can yarn over on your hook, rotate that chain, and then insert your hook into the back bump, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and then yarn over, pull through 2 more loops, and that is 1 double crochet into that 4th chain from the hook. And then you're going to do the same thing, yarn over, insert your hook into the 5th chain from the hook, work a double crochet stitch, and then you're going to do it one more time into that last chain. So yarn over, rotate that chain, insert your hook into the back bump of the chain. This one you might have to wiggle in a little bit. And then yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over, pull through the final 2. So you can see we have a neat little block right here, and it consists of the 3 double crochet we made plus that chain 3 on the end. So that is our chain space. And then you're going to turn your work, and we are going to again work in increase block. So you want to chain 6 like you did before, and then yarn over and work a double crochet stitch into that 4th chain from the hook. So rotate your chain a little bit and insert your hook into that back bump. And you're just working a double crochet stitch. So yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 more, work another double crochet stitch into the chain directly after that one, and then work a 3rd double crochet stitch into that last chain. So again, yarn over, insert your hook into the back bump, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and that is our first square in the 2nd row of the panel. And to continue, we are going to be inserting our hook into that chain space from the first square, and then just slip stitching to join. So insert your hook and then yarn over and pull through. And then you're going to be working a block into this chain space. So chain 3 and work 3 double crochet all into the same chain space. And this is going to be a regular block throughout this pattern. So a regular block is just chaining 3 and working 3 double crochet. So that is row 2, and you can see we have 2 blocks for row 2. That block on the corner is row 1. And then once again, we're going to turn our work and start row 3. So we are still increasing at this point, so you want to chain 6, and then we're just going to do the same exact thing as we did previously. Work your first double crochet stitch into that 4th chain from the hook. So you have your chain 3 and then the first double crochet, the second double crochet, and then the 3rd double crochet. And that is our first block of row 3. And then we're going to be doing the same thing, slip stitch into that chain space of the previous block from the previous row. So just slip stitch to join, and then just work a regular block, which is chain 3 and 3 double crochet all into the same space. So we have 1, 2, and now 3. And then you're going to slip stitch over again into the chain space of the next block. So just insert your hook, slip stitch over, and then work another block. So chain 3, and then work 3 double crochet all into the same space. So that completes row 3, and you can see we have 3 blocks. We have 1 block for row 1, 2 blocks for row 2, and 3 blocks for row 3. And each row is going to add on another block. So for the 4th row, you will have a total of 4 blocks. And from here on out, you are just repeating what we just did in the previous row. So we're still increasing, so you'll want to chain 6, work your block as you did in the previous row, and then you'll be slip stitching over, working a normal block, slip stitching over, working another normal block, and then slip stitch again for the 4th and final block of the row. And this is what you will be doing throughout the entire pattern. And I will show you guys how to join in the new color yarns, because we will be switching colors, and I will also show you guys how to work the first decrease after our 12 rows. So the bottom of the panel will have a total of 12 blocks across, and I will show you guys how to do that when we get there. But just continue doing this as I've shown you. So just working the blocks by slip stitching, chaining 3, 3 double crochet, and this is what you'll be doing for every row. And I also wanted to point out to make sure you're just following along with the graphs that I have provided free on my blog. So that shows you exactly how many rows you need of which color, and you can follow along with that. I also have all the written instructions available for the color changes as well. And there is a total of 4 panels. So this is just the panel I'm showing you guys on as the example for this video. So just make sure you are following along for the panel and the color changes that you are working on. So keep going with your blocks, and I will meet you back here to show you guys how to change colors. So for this example panel that I'm working up for you guys, it's time for a color change. So just depending on what panel you're working on, it could be at a different point. Just make sure you're following along with the graph and the panel you're on. For this one, it's panel B, and I've completed 9 rows using the color A, and now it's time to switch colors. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So when you reach the final double crochet of the final block of the row right before you need to switch colors, you're going to work your double crochet as normal. And then instead of yarning over and pulling through with that yarn color that you're currently working with, you're going to drop that working yarn. You should have 2 loops on your hook, and then all you're going to do is pick up your new color. So for this one, it's the citronella color, color C in the pattern, and you're just going to lay it over your hook, and then just draw that through the final 2 loops, finishing off the double crochet with your new color. And then I just like to give the tails a little tug to make sure it's all tight and secure. And then you can go ahead and turn your work and keep going with the next row. So we still haven't worked, or we still have not reached our first decrease corner, so we're going to keep increasing. So chain 6, and then you're just going to work your block as normal with the new color that you joined in. So you can yarn over and insert your hook into the chain to work your first double crochet, and then just go ahead and work your next 2 double crochet as usual. And just keep going and work your next square into the chain space. So it's the exact same thing, we've just changed colors now. So chain 3, work your 3 double crochet, and just keep going with your new color until the graph tells us to switch again. And I also wanted to point out that you can go ahead and cut the color A. So go ahead and just cut a tail. It doesn't have to be super long, but you also want to leave enough so that you can tie a knot. So I like to tie a tight knot using the tail of the new color and then the tail of the old color. And the best part is you will not be weaving in most of these ends that you see here. You will be crocheting directly over them when we join the 4 panels together. So don't worry about having to weave them in. You can just tie a knot and leave them there. And then once we join with a single crochet the 4 panels, we'll be working our stitches directly over them. So just keep going with your rows, and I will show you what to do when you reach the first corner. Okay, so now we've reached our first corner, and you can see that I have 12 blocks along the bottom. Each panel is 12 blocks wide, and at that point you know that it is time to start decreasing and no longer widening your panel. So I will show you guys how to do that. So this block right here on the corner is my 12th block. So I know I do not want to increase at this point. I just want to work my way up the side. So you do that by working 3 slip stitches along the side of your last block made. So into those double crochets, you can just slip stitch up and then slip stitch into the chain space of that last block. So you can see I've worked 3 slip stitches and then I slip stitched into the chain space. And now since we're no longer increasing, this is just going to be a normal regular block, no increasing anymore. So all you have to do for that one is chain 3 and then work 3 double crochet into the chain space. And that is what we will be doing on this side of the panel from here on out. So on the other side, we are still increasing, so we will still be doing the chain 6. But on this side, we will only be doing the chain 3 and 3 double crochet, and then work your blocks as normal. But when you get to the other side, since we still want to increase our rectangle panel and keep going up, you want to chain 6 like you have been and work your square as an increase. So just continue with your normal blocks all the way across this row and work your increase square on the end and then turn your work, and then I will show you guys again what to do when you get back down this way. So go ahead and work down and back, and then I'll show you another decrease. So once you get back down to the side of the panel that we are decreasing on, your final square is just going to be a normal square. So go ahead and slip stitch into the chain space, chain 3, and then work 3 double crochet into that same spot. So this is where it'll be slightly different. You're just going to slip stitch into that chain space of the previous block and then go ahead and turn your work. And then just as you have been doing before, you're going to slip stitch up the side. So work 3 slip stitch into the next 3 double crochet stitches. So 1 slip stitch per stitch. So you'll have 3 slip stitches. And then you can go ahead and slip stitch into that chain space. And then because we are no longer increasing on this side, you can just work a regular block. So chain 3 and then work 3 double crochet, and you continue your row as normal. So just keep going, and then I will show you guys how to change colors when you are changing it on the decrease side. Okay, so now I wanted to show you guys what to do if you have to change colors on the decrease side. So for panel B, which is the panel I'm working on currently for this tutorial, you have to change colors at row 17. And what you want to do is work your last square as normal and slip stitch up the side as normal. And then when you go and insert your hook into that chain space, you can insert your hook, drop your working yarn, and then pull in the new color. So you'll want to pull in color B. And you can just drop the working yarn of the previous color out of the way, and then use your new color and chain 3, and then work your 3 double crochet as normal. So now you're no longer working with the previous color, and the color B or the green color is your current working yarn. And then again, I just like to stop what I'm doing, and as I'm going, I like to tie a knot with those tails of yarn. So then you can go ahead and cut the previous color that you were working with. And again, it doesn't have to be super long, just 3 to 6 inches, and then go ahead and just tie a knot. That way you know that it's secure and won't come undone, and you can easily just crochet over it later on when we're sewing our panels together. So that's how you change colors on the other side. Keep going with this same method throughout the whole panel and the color changes, and then I will show you guys how to do the decrease when we reach the upper corner of our panel. Okay, so now we have reached the second corner of our panel, and this white block right here was block 60, which is the corner of the upper side of the panel. And just as we did on the lower corner, we are no longer increasing on this side. So I am on row 61 now, and that row 60 right there was the corner. And so we're no longer adding height to this side. So you can just slip stitch in to the final block 60 and then turn your work. And then just slip stitch back down. So do the same thing as you have been doing on the other side. So work 1, 2, and then 3 slip stitches, and then you're also going to be slip stitching into the chain space. And from here on out, we will be decreasing our block count by 1 block with each row. So at this point, we are just decreasing on both sides. So you're no longer going to be doing the chain 6, you're just going to be doing chain 3 and 3 double crochet on both sides of your panel. So you can just go ahead and keep going and decreasing on both ends, working your chain 3 and 3 double crochet. And then I will show you guys what to do when we get to the final row and how to tie off. Okay, and now we're at row 71, and this is going to be the same for every single panel. And all you have to do for that one is make your final block. So I'll show you guys how to do that. You can go ahead and slip stitch into your chain space. I've already slip stitched up the side. So then just slip stitch in the chain space and then chain 3 and work 3 double crochet into that same chain space. So it's just a normal block, which you've been doing throughout the entire pattern. And then after you've worked your 3 double crochet, we're going to be tying off our work. So we still want to connect this. So you're going to slip stitch over into the chain space in the block next to you. And then you don't have to, you could tie off at this point, but I think it just makes this uniform if we do the same thing which we've been doing and slip stitch up the side. So I just like to work 3 slip stitch up the side of the final block, and then I also slip stitch one more time into the chain space, and then I just pull the loop through, and then you can go ahead and cut your yarn and pull it all the way through to tie off your work. And that completes one panel, and you need to make sure you have all 4 panels complete. And again, all of the graphs are in my free pattern on my blog. So make sure you have all of your ends tied into a knot and you have all 4 panels made, A, B, C, and D. And then I will show you guys how to join the panels together and do the finishing touches on the blanket. Okay, so now you should have all 4 panels made, and I'm going to show you guys how to sew them together. So I'm just using a single crochet stitch, and we are going to stitch it together. I actually like the single crochet stitch as the right side or the top of my blanket. I think it gives it a cool looking element to it, but if you don't like it, you can always flip your blanket over and it'll hide those single crochet stitches, and you will just see a slight seam on the other side. But you can also lay out your panels however you want to and pick whichever direction or at whichever way you want to lay the panels. It doesn't matter. You can choose however you want it to look, but I have it all labeled out A, B, C, and D in my pattern if you want to do it exactly like my blanket. And then you're just going to take panel A and panel B and place them together right sides facing. So I have all of mine worked from the bottom up, so I'm creating a slip knot and I am joining them together here at the bottom of the panels. So these little squares right here are on the bottom of the panels, and because they are flipped around making like a zigzag shape, they're not both going to be square one, but they're both on the bottom of the panel, if that makes sense. You can lay them out however you want to, but I have a photo on my blog showing exactly how I did mine. So you're just going to create your slip knot using color A, and then work your hook into the corner of both panel A and panel B, and we're just going to single crochet up the sides of the panel. So insert your hook and then draw that yarn through, slip stitching to join. So after you slip stitch to join, you're just going to chain 1 and then work a single crochet into that very same spot. So go ahead and yarn over, pull through, chain 1, and then work a single crochet into the same space where you joined. And then we are just going to single crochet up the entire side of these 2 panels. So I worked 1 single crochet into the top of every double crochet. So it's kind of hard to insert your hook into some of these spots just because of the slip stitches that you make when you are making your blocks. So you might have to wiggle it a little bit. You'll also want to make sure that you are evenly working these single crochets up. So when you are working it to, say, the center double crochet of the 3 double crochet, you want to make sure that you're putting it through the same stitch on both panels so that everything's even. So just keep track of that while you're working your way up the side, that block 1, you are stitching to block 1, block 2 to block 2. All the way up the side, and then when you reach the section that is the chain space, so you can see here the chain space area, I worked 2 single crochet into those. You can do more or less, whatever you think looks good, but I found that working 2 of them into the chain space worked out really well. And then in this little space in between the 3 double crochet in that chain space, I worked another single crochet. So it was approximately 3 single crochet per every little block. And you just repeat this all the way up the side, working your single crochet stitches evenly up. I also wanted to show you really quick where I previously pointed out that we can just single crochet directly over the tails of our work, and I wanted to show you that in action. So here are a couple tails of the yarn that I've already knotted together, and I'm just going to work my stitches directly over them. So I'm still going to be inserting my hook as I have been, and I'm just going to lay those tails of yarn over my hook as well as I work the stitches across the sides of the panel. So whenever you come up to the tails of your yarn, just make sure they're double knotted and then just work directly over them. And then if you have some sticking out at the end, you can also trim those up as well. So just keep going like this all the way up the side of your panel, and you can see that the ends are hidden in under that single crochet. Okay, so I'm coming up to the ends of panel A and panel B, and I'm just going to show you guys how to tie off your work. So in this final square, I'm going to work my final 2 single crochet into that chain space, and then because we want the corners to be connected too, make sure you're working your final single crochet into the very top corner of your panels. So not into your chain space, but work it into a stitch. So just kind of put your hook in between the yarn and not into the chain space, and do it through both panels and work your final single crochet. And then you can just tie off your yarn. So yarn over and pull through, and then you can just go ahead and cut the yarn and pull it all the way through to tie off. And you're going to be repeating the same thing with all of the panels. So we just did panel A and panel B. And so next you'll want to take panel C and line that up with panel B. Make sure the wrong sides are facing so that the stitching's on the same side. You can see the single crochet stitches on this side, and then the other side there's no stitches. So you can lay it whichever way you think is best, if you like the single crochet look to it, or if you just want the seamless look. You can flip it on both sides and try it out. So go ahead and repeat this same thing with panel B and panel C. So once you have panels A and B sewn together, you're going to do the same thing through the rest of the blanket. So you can see here I have panels A and B, and the single crochets are facing up, and I've grabbed panel C and placed the wrong sides how I want them together, and I'm just single crocheting these together as well, working my single crochet over the ends that I have tied in a double knot all the way across. And then I'm going to do the same thing with panel D. I'll grab panel D after this one and place it up against panel C and work across that one as well. So just repeat the same thing. Once you have all 4 panels sewn together, the only thing left to do is to weave in the ends. You can see that some of the color changes on the outside of panels A and panel D have to be weaved in and hidden because we haven't crocheted over them. If you have enough yarn left over and you would rather, you can always do a single crochet border around the edge of the blanket, but I'm just going to go ahead and weave mine in. So to do that, you just need a needle. I'm using this plastic yarn needle. You can use just whatever type you have, and then just go ahead and thread the tail of yarn, and then just pull it through these stitches. I like to thread it through the same color stitches of the tail of yarn that I'm working with, and you can just go back and forth 2 or 3 times and then go ahead and cut your yarn, and just repeat this with all of the tails that you have left over. And that is it for this blanket. I hope you guys enjoyed this pattern. It is super fun and easy to make, and I really liked it, so I hope you guys did too. Be sure to leave any questions or comments down below, and I'll try my best to answer them. And as always, I will see you guys next time for the next tutorial.